You know what would be better than watching this commercial? Watching your commercial. Join the party that is Make Your Day Richer TV by advertising your brand, business, or project during the show. Use us to promote what you're doing to make our viewers' day richer. Scan the QR code or visit makeyourdayricher.com/advertising to start promoting today.
Make your day richer than it was before. Got some good times knocking upon your front door.
Hi everyone, welcome to Make Your Day Richer. I hope you had a good weekend. I did. I went and saw Des Bishop, who, if you have not seen him, he's a comedian, and I saw him at the Comedy Zone in Charlotte. It was such a fun night. I want to thank the Comedy Zone, one, for having a 6 p.m. show, because for old people like me, it was fantastic because I literally was home and in bed by 9 o'clock. And I've been following him on social media. He's so funny, so funny. And he was here. He had a great opener that I cannot remember his name. He was so funny. He's a Charlotte native and super funny. The host was funny. I love the Comedy Zone. It's like this small, it's not small, but it's not like a theater, right? It's like a comedy club, like a smaller comedy club. And they have such amazing people that are coming there that I was looking at the screen as it was going through and I was like, well, we're going to be here next week. Well, we're going to be here next month. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. What I didn't do this weekend was take down my Christmas decorations. Is it too late now? Am I the weird one? I did take down the outdoor decorations yesterday. So that's done. So we don't look crazy from the outside, but the inside, everything's still up and it's also still on. I got a new editing job. Outside of this, I help other people with their podcasts, and I got an editing job, and they don't send the files until like Thursday or Friday. So I work on the weekends editing that, so I don't have a ton of time. But I think it's this weekend. I think this coming up weekend is the weekend that my Christmas stuff is coming down. I can feel it. I think. I'm not sure. Anyway, I don't know. I'm at the point now where, like, as I'm walking by stuff, I'll just grab it and it's now on the dining room table. And so I'm like, I'll just put that there. That's not lit. And so now everything's getting a little, it's getting a little unorganized and it's kind of driving me nuts. So it'll all have to come down and organized and everything back to normal again soon. Okay. That's it. That's my story about Christmas. It's Emily's birthday today. My friend Emily. Hi, Emily. Happy birthday. Welcome to the 40 Club. I think, are you 41 now? I think you're 41 now. I'm telling you, we're all getting old. We are getting old. And you know what else happened this weekend? 125,000 views of this show. Holy crap. Y'all are just blowing it out of the water. And I want to thank all the people that are now finding us on LinkedIn. LinkedIn, we've become very popular on LinkedIn. So thank you everyone who's finding us there and everywhere that you're watching, that you're downloading, that you're listening. Thank you. And now's a really good time to just share the show. Just share it right now. It'd be really easy. Share the show. Get us to 126 by tomorrow. We used to have 2 dogs, right? And our 17-year-old dog died a little over a year ago. And the puppy was very sad about this. And I don't want 2 dogs. And so we started dog sitting through that app Rover. So we just watch dogs. It helps our dog be social and she gets to play and we help other people and whatever. And it's been great. And we got a call over the weekend from someone who was leaving town kind of urgently for a surgery in the family. And they have a dog that's very old and is kind of going through the same stuff that our dog was going through, where he wasn't really able to use his back legs. And So we went over to meet the dog because we like all the dogs to meet. So everything's all kumbaya and good and everything's good. Um, and this poor dog was in one of those like harness things and couldn't walk. And it was so sad. And it just reminded me of the dog that I that had just died. And so he was supposed to come today. And I got a message from the owner yesterday that he died. And I just, it's so hard when your pets go. It's so hard. And it's so hard to know when to let them go, when they're suffering, when they're not suffering. And so, Jeff, a virtual hug and a kiss to you. And, you know, it doesn't get easy. It doesn't, you just never know. But anyway, so I am very thankful, however, that it happened before he left town and was with us because I would feel awful. Anyway, now I brought the show down. I'm so sorry. What can I tell you? We're going to show up that we have a great show today. We to bring you two amazing guests. Cassandra Crawley Mayo is here. Susan Hensley is here. We need to get a clapping track for when I say those things. Here, I'll do that again. Cassandra Crawley Mayo is here. Shall we? From overcoming childhood adversity to shattering glass ceilings in the corporate world, my first guest knows a thing or two about resilience. She rose to become a vice president at a Fortune 500 company, but her journey wasn't without its struggles. She faced burnout, imposter syndrome, and the unique challenges of being one of the few African American women in her field. But instead of letting those obstacles define her, she found the strength to pivot and embrace her authentic self. Now she's sharing her powerful story and helping other women do the same. Please welcome the author of the #1 bestseller on Amazon, Is Your Way in Your Way. She also has a podcast by the same name, Cassandra Crawley Mayo. Good morning.
Well, good morning, Richard. Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be on your show.
Oh my gosh. It's a pleasure to have you on my show. I think this is going to be a really fun 15 minutes of our lives is what I'm excited for.
Okay.
Congratulations on your book.
Thank you.
It's called Is Your Way in Your Way.
That's correct.
I love that title.
Thank you.
Tell everybody what it's about.
Okay. Well, actually, Is Your Way in Your Way? It's a self-discovery journey for women on how to restore yourself, learn from experiences, and be your true self again.
Where does that wisdom come from?
That wisdom comes from actually a lot of my life, basically half of my life. Candid, right? Let me be transparent because that's my thing. Authenticity is I've been wanting to write a book for a long time. And the reason that it has taken, I'll say 12 plus years, and the reason it's taken me so long, because I was in my way. And what I mean by being in your way, I had all these self imposed barriers like imposter syndrome, self imposed barriers, perfectionist. I didn't want people to know my story. I knew individuals didn't really know me, so who would even be interested in reading about me? And then, one day, and I at the airport, and that's a chapter in my book, I actually had an out of body experience. And the out of body experience, we don't have time to talk about it now, but based on that out of body experience, gave me the title of the book, and it confirmed that I needed to get busy in writing that book because I was in my way. And not only was I in my way, it's so many of us in our own way.
Agreed. How long then, when you finally had that out of body experience to the release of it, how long did it take you to put this together?
A year. It actually took a year. I wrote the book during the pandemic, and it's my debut book. I had no idea what I was doing. And because of that, I got in my way again. I'm like, you know what? Forget this book. There are many times that I stopped. I'm like, you know what? This isn't working. This isn't working. I started doubting myself. I didn't want to be exposed because a lot of it, as I indicated, my life is in the book. And I didn't want people to know about me. I felt ashamed. But guess what? When individuals started reading the book, they said, you know what? I can see myself in that book.
How did that feel when you start getting that feedback? Because there's so much anticipation and fear releasing something that's so personal.
It was. Hey, when you have fear, it's like you're protecting yourself from something. And I was protecting myself from being exposed. And what I mean by that is, to look at Cassandra on the outside, people really didn't know what was going on the inside. They've had individuals say, wow, you're this, you're that, you accomplished this, that, blah, blah, blah. But yet internally, I was struggling. And so when individuals shared with me that they saw themselves in the book, I was like, oh my gosh. So now I understand why it had to be written so that I can help and empower individuals to get out of their way to do that because I want people to start living their best life on their terms. I don't want them to go with regrets, period. Okay. So that's what that's all about.
I mean, we can stop the interview there. That's perfect explanation. Perfect explanation. What did you learn during writing the book?
I learned a lot. And one of the things I learned was I felt a sense of healing, growth, more maturity. And I also learned that there were reasons why I went through what I went through so that it was not only for me, but it was for others. And that right there gave me a lot of peace. And let me know that I was able to relate to so many people, and that made me feel really good. It made me feel so good. I tell you, I had to do a companion journal to go along with the book so that individuals can get what I would say have their own self-discovery journey.
I talk about it all the time. I swear every day I'm talking about this, about the healing health benefits of writing, whether or not it's for a book that you're going to put out there for sale or just for yourself in your home, in your journal that you put in your nightstand. Can you talk about that?
The other day, I was looking through all my journals and I was actually telling someone I started writing. I'm going to date myself. I started doing journals in 1974. And when I look at the journals on my bookcase, I'm like, I better burn them before I leave because somebody's going to write a book about me, my top secrets. And what I did that, it was so healing. It was unbelievable. I was able to let go of things on paper. And now it's the reason it was so great is because I look back on, so I just grabbed the book the other day and looked and I'm like, oh, you poor child. Like, wow, but look at you now. So it just shows the growth and enables me to share how healing writing can be.
What would you say to people, whether or not they, like I said, they want to put stuff out for people to purchase or not? What would you say would be a great way to start integrating writing into every day?
And I've always given journals as gifts. And I always like to look at the faces, and these are to women, to young women. And they're like, what? I thought I was going to get something else. I'm like, you're going to get a whole lot. When you start writing and look back, trust me, you will learn a lot and you will grow and you will be able to look back over your life and say, wow, look how far I have come. So if you want to, what I say, take a deep dive because nothing's wrong with having a self-discovery because we all need that. And once you that take it's a secret, you keep it to yourself, hide it, lock it up, tape it up, or do whatever it is. But I can guarantee you, if you are open to the concept of writing, it will be to your best benefit and you will never regret it.
Who would you say the book is for?
The book is actually for women, even though men have gotten on me and upset with me about it, and I've had men to even write reviews on Amazon about what they thought it should be for men as well. But my audience are women, and they're from the ages of like 30, about the late 30s to 55 and above. because I believe that those are individuals that many of them, and I say that for myself, they're not real clear on what it is that they should be doing. They don't even know what living their best life looks like. I don't think they've even thought about it. And if you think about it and they can figure out what is that? What is my best life? It's attainable because it's in your, what I call it, deep in your soul, what it is that you really want to do. And it'll enable you to start getting it out there on what it is that you want. Put it out in the universe.
What did you want to be when you were a kid, when you grew up?
I wanted to be an anesthesiologist. That's
What?
what I wanted to do, right? But listen, this is the kicker. When I went to college, I had not a clue what I really wanted to do. So what I did was I majored in business administration because I felt like if I majored in that, I could basically do about anything. So here I was, somebody that really, really didn't know what they wanted to do, but I could pick. I want to do this. I want to be a fashion designer. I want to do this. But I really never really knew what it was until I guess I started corporate. And I'm like, you know what? I think I know. I think I know for a fact that I wanted to write a book because that's one of the things on my vision board.
I mean, I think that's so common, again, relatable, that like when you're 18, suddenly you're supposed to know what you want to do with the rest of your life. And that seems crazy to me.
That's right. That's right.
So,
And
yeah.
yeah, and we do what our parents tell us we could do.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh no,
Mm-hmm.
you should no, you don't want to be an artist because they don't make any money. So you want to do
Mm-hmm.
this. So I'm
Yeah.
over that now.
Good. Good. You're also on a great, great mission to help women and organizations live their best life. Tell everybody where this came from.
That came from myself. And it actually came from, I read an article about a hospice nurse who interviewed individuals that were transitioning. And she asked them what was it that they regretted. And there were five regrets. But the two stuck with me. The five regrets, most people know I worked too hard. I wish I would have spent time with family. I wish I would have traveled. But the two that really stuck with me is they wish they were happier and they wish they could have been more true to themselves. And when I saw
Mm.
that and I meditated on that, I even ruminated on it, and I made a determination that I will not go to my grave with no regrets because I remember a minister by the name of Dr. Miles Monroe said the richest place in the world was the graveyard because there were so many unmet dreams. And I'm like, not me, because
Wow.
if that's the way I'm going, I want my cup to be running over. And now I just have that desire to empower. Hey, my mission's changed. I want to empower a generation of women to
Mm.
start living their best life as they were ordained. And that way they'll find more meaning in life as well.
How can people connect with you if they want to jump on that and get help from you?
All they have to do is go to my CassandraCrawley.com website, and they can also contact me on Mayo, Mayo, at CassandraCrawley.com. That's my email. I'm actually on all social media platforms. I'm excited because it took me a while to do that, like TikTok and Facebook and Instagram. Just put in my name. And I also have a podcast. You can pull my podcast up as well. And that's where you'll find me.
What's your podcast? Tell everybody when does that come out?
Hey, my podcast has been out, and you could not imagine what the title of my podcast is Your Way.
Yes.
Go ahead and finish
I'm-
it.
Is Your Way in Your Way is the podcast, I'm guessing.
That's exactly right.
And how often does it come out? I didn't mean when I knew it was out, but what days does it come out?
It comes out live every Wednesday at 1:00 p.m. But of course, you can see them on all platforms, podcast platforms. But that's when they come out live.
Good. Are you having fun on TikTok? I feel like I'm too old for TikTok, so I might need your help.
Well, you know what? I am too, but I'm getting responses and followers, and all I do is run snippets of my podcast. So I'm learning. That helps me to grow. I love learning, growing, and serving. So, in other words, I'm out of my comfort zone.
Yeah, that's always fun, right? Once you finally succumb to it. Yeah. Are you going to be writing another book or anything?
Oh, so told you I was going to write another book.
I do my
Uh-oh.
research.
Okay, I actually am. I'm getting ready to. I already have my title, and I'm going to do that in 2025, and I'm hopeful that it will be published by the end of the year.
I hope you come back. We'll make this a yearly thing. You come out with something amazing every year. You just come hang out with me.
Yeah, oh, I would love that. Thank you. Would love it.
What do you love most about your life right now?
I love that I am living my best life on my terms. And you know what? And I look forward to getting up in the morning because now I have meaning. It's like I have a purpose and I am so driven by my purpose. And my podcast, I love the guest. I love my host. It is just amazing to me. I'm just like a kid in a candy store.
Oh, what a great answer.
Yeah.
I love that. Well, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it.
And thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. And I love the toys in the backgrounds because I think what it did, it brought the childlike spirit out of me just by talking with you.
Well, you come back anytime you want. I mean that.
Okay. Thank you.
Go get Cassandra's book, Is Your Way in Your Way. Go listen to her podcast, same title. Go to our website, CassandraCrawley.com. Just take everything in of Cassandra that you can, okay? We're going to take a break and we'll be right back with Susan Hensley to do some art journaling right after this. Don't go away.
You know what would be better than watching this commercial? Watching your commercial. Scan the QR code or visit makeyourdayricher.com/advertising to start promoting today.
Start promoting today. My next guest was juggling the demands of a high-powered corporate career while the world was facing a global pandemic. Despite her outward success, she felt overwhelmed and creatively drained. But instead of accepting the status quo, she embarked on a journey of self-discovery that led her to a surprising solution. Art journaling, have you heard of it? We're about to. She's here to share how this playful practice not only helped her de-stress and rediscover her joy, but also empowered her to navigate major life transitions like retirement with a newfound sense of purpose. Please welcome the author of Art for Your Sanity, Susan Hensley. Good morning, Susan.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm fantastic. How are you?
I am also fantastic. Thank you.
Good. I'm very excited to have you on because I was in the arts and health field for a long time. I worked with a lot of people, did some journaling in hospitals with hospital patients. I was a member of the National Organization for Arts and Health. And what you are doing is arts and health. And anytime I get to talk to someone who's doing that, I get very excited. So tell everybody about art journaling. Like, let's start with what that is.
Sure. It's very basic. It is a visual form of written journaling. So most people have an idea, even if they don't keep a written journal, right? It's a small book that's private where they record whatever they want. Art journaling is the exact same thing. I use sort of same size book, about 5x7. It's just blank. And quite honestly, I use the least expensive, most childlike art things. I started with finger paints and crayons, and I still use, after all these years, crayons. I've got, shout out to Elmer's. I love that Elmer's glue stick, that big, thick purple one. I get the thick one. Collaging. And what I love about it, it's a visual way. So it really kicks you into that right side of your brain and gets you out of the left, which is making lists, judging, logic. And the written journaling sort of keeps you there. Anyone who's ever written journal knows that it tend to start with like a date, maybe where they are, what they did, right? Very linear. You move over to playing with whatever you want to play with, crayons, watercolors, collage. That's not where you start. You're just starting with image, color. So it's private. It's a play place. I really say people want to come at it originally as a place of play, get real curious, have a lot of self-compassion, for yourself, and then see where it grows. Because, having been in the healing arts, right? I'm coming at this initially as a place of play to expand creativity. But as you've studied and worked in the healing arts, it becomes a safe container for really difficult emotions and processing. You're much more an expert in this than I, but processing those emotions in a safe way that creates real distance.
Yes. And you touched on so many things. One, I want to talk about like the play in adults and when adults stop playing and how important it is to continue to play as an adult. Everybody who comes into the studio thinks I run a daycare. And I was like, no, this is where I get to play every day.
You're absolutely right. We stop. And sadly, we're stopping earlier and earlier in our lives. All the research has shown we stop thinking we're creative and playing with art unless we actually choose a career in that, which has some different implications. I want to say once you decide something's a career or a path, doesn't always feel as much like play, does it? But
Once it's a job. Yeah.
once it's a job. So we stop playing in that way. In many cases, research shows by about 8 or 9, and we start to get certain tracks. But what play does when adults can fit it in, even 10 minutes a day, and that's where I really recommend people start with art journaling if they're curious, is it expands that curiosity and that sense of what's possible, wonder, exploration. Most of the time we can grind through packed schedules, right? Shoulds, lists, always striving for improvement, if not perfection, comparison, whereas play has none of that. I mean, no child, if you watch kids, goes out with an agenda when they play. It's like, it's a recess. I'm going to accomplish these 5 things in recess.
It's literally like, how much fun can I have in this amount of time? Yeah.
That is exactly it. And it's appropriate fun, right? I think adults, we can sometimes choose to pack in a lot of fun. Not always do we feel great after some of that. Some of the fun images that I think we're given as adults don't leave us feeling great afterwards necessarily.
You have a book, Art, which I love the title, Art for Your Sanity. Perfect title. When did you discover art journaling? Like, how did you get into it?
Completely by accident, which is some of the best things in life, right? It's sort of that glimmer. I was working in a big corporate job, and I love to do things. I've joked that I'm a human doer, and I've really worked very hard in my life to be more balanced and to sort of embrace being. But that is what I was doing. So about 7 years ago now, a colleague had a side business with art commissions. Very, very talented woman. And it was a passion for her, but she also really produced art for the sake of producing art and selling it to clients. And some of us were just saying, gosh, we have the typical things. I'm not an artist. I haven't done anything since I was 8 or 9. So she said, hey, a few of you come over on a weekend, 2 hours, I'll have some cheese crackers, maybe a little wine, and I'll teach you a little skills practice. So about 6 of us went to her house, rainy Saturday, and she was trying to give folks some basics on a color wheel and some proportion. And I sat in the corner and I started playing with some paints, and being an impatient person, I made a brown mess, which I've since learned is what impatient people who don't understand colors create. But I loved my brown mess. And because I've done so much executive coaching, career coaching, like what do you want to do with your life coaching? That's a lot of what my corporate career was built on. I pay deep attention to those moments of joy, those sparks, those glimmers. And so I was having one. I loved my brown mess. I actually took it home. I very carefully drove home because this thing was wet and soggy because, of course, we used way too much paint. Drove it home. I hung it when it was dry on the refrigerator. And my family, my husband and son are like, what the heck? And it was that moment. So I got curious, right? That's really what, when you're a person who coaches, it's good to take your own advice sometimes. And this was easy advice to take. So I started playing with art. I still had my child's some of those art supplies at home. So just crayons, right? I said I kept a journal, watercolors. And as I was playing just about 10 minutes a day, sometimes I would even do it literally. I'd be waiting for water to boil I'm one of those people who makes like the old fashioned oatmeal on a cold morning. You got to wait for the water to boil. And versus like scrolling on my phone, I take out my crayons. And I did that for several years just for myself, not really thinking too much about it, but just really sort of, this is a great outlet. I know the importance of play, curiosity. And then I started to see messages to myself evolve. Pandemic hit, things got very rough. I was working a lot of anxiety. I recognized how it could be a safe container. And then I started to do the research or look at the research that's been done about what was going on. And really, my art journal coached me to making a major career change. I love this company, been there 23, 24 years, sort of jumping off that proverbial cliff, lots of images of that. I'd always said I'd never write a book. I never intended to show anyone my art journal, just like I've never shown you my written. It's like you are compelled because it's simple and the play, curiosity, and really if you will, self-compassion, because it silences that inner critic really well, or it makes you aware of the inner critic. You have choices, whether you're like, no, you can't come to my play date or not, but you do hear that voice. So yeah, that's how I ended up writing the book, Art for Your Sanity. And now I teach workshops. I've got an online course. So it's just about trying to share something really easy and see if it helps people.
So what can people expect from the book Art for Your Sanity? Like what's in the book? Tell everybody about that.
Sure. So basically in the book, it's a little bit my story and images, and then it turns into the why it works and the how to. I also, on my website, because it is so simple, I don't want to act like this is magic. I've got a free downloadable PDF. I mean, it really is very simple. My online training really guides people to go much deeper. And that's where I use a lot of my other coaching tools to understand what you're seeing and feeling with a lot of prompts. But the book's the introduction. But I would say if any of your audience is at all interested, do the downloadable PDF and just play. Because the other big tip is use the art materials that kids use that you loved as a kid. Do not spend a bunch of money, because the minute as an adult we get something fancy, we think we need to be good.
There's pressure. Yeah.
Ruins it. Yes.
Yeah. You're giving me goosebumps because you're like touching everything that I try to tell everybody is, one, it doesn't have to take a ton of time. Like the excuses are always like, one, I don't have time. Two, it costs too much money. I don't have the space for it. And that's like exactly what you're saying. Like, it's not magic. It's so simple and it changes your life. Like, I don't think people realize that it changes your life.
Yeah, it changed mine. I am really a different person. Like I said, I have been blessed with all sorts of tools and in a professional environment. Like I said, if you're a coach, and it really was sort of the magic sauce, but it's simple and it's not magic. That's the key. Book is short and simple. The PDF is, and it's just, I tell people all the time, bring a sense of play, curiosity, and then real self-compassion. Be your own, what I call proud parent, proud teacher, proud coach. I hung that brown mess on my refrigerator.
And I'm assuming when you took off to go to that party, you were not thinking, whatever I make, I'm going to hang on the refrigerator. Like, I'm assuming that was not in your head at all.
Not at all. It was really, quite honestly, something social on a Saturday. I'm like, I'm not creative. I don't really want to go, but it's sort of rainy, cold. I'll see my friend. Really, I was going to have some snacks and a glass of wine. That was my objective.
Yeah. You were just there for the crackers, really.
Exactly. Let's be totally clear.
Yes. I think what you also said is really smart too, is go back to like your childhood and what you loved to use in your childhood, because it has that like nostalgia value then. And then you're instantly going back to that playful side of you. I was just speaking at a conference for authors, and I brought koosh bowls. And so when people were, because I was interacting with the audience, and so when people would answer or have something to say, I would throw them a koosh ball. And the entire conference, I watched everybody carry these. Like the next day, people had these in their hands, and they were playing with them and using them as rings. And I thought, that's because that you just we hide behind suits and real people jobs, and all we really want to do is have fun.
That is so So true. It's interesting. One of the first exercises in the workshop in my online training is to doodle for 3 minutes. There's real magic in like a short, constrained time period. What you used to draw, sometime between like 5 and 8, and 3 minutes. And I want them to fill the page. You're not giving me one perfect flower or tree or cat or airplane or train, right? Whatever your thing was back in the day. You're filling a small page in 3 minutes, and people love it. The feedback I get on that, I mean, do it at home. There's no, once again, you can do that anytime. But to your point, then you have no expectation of being perfect if you're doodling for 3 minutes.
Yeah. Is that in your Artful Transitions course? Is that what you're
Yeah,
talking
it's
about?
in the Artful Transitions course. It's in workshops I teach live, and it's one of the exercises or suggestions in the books. I find it to be such a good breakout because it moves you immediately in to that inner child artist that still exists. Because if you really did stop with art, that's what you know how to do and draw and have fun with.
Ellen DeGeneres had a joke once about I'm going to butcher this, but the basic story was like, when did adults stop playing tag? And wouldn't it be fun to walk down the street and run up to someone and go, tag, you're it, and run away and see what would happen on the street if people were all playing? And that's really what you're talking about, is just playing. It's so easy. It's so easy.
Oh, I did a live workshop a little while ago. I was brought in, I joke, as the entertainment in a strategy session, corporate executive retreat. So I'm after lunch and the faces start super serious and super intense. They're like, what the heck? Right. And I can speak that language because I lived there, but I had them do that opening exercise, played music, spread them out. That debrief in 3 minutes, I was like, how'd that feel? Most people are like, free, too short, you got into all these stories about like, my twin sister would always steal my crayons and this was just mine. I mean, the sort of things that until that moment. And so it's like your Koosball story, right? You had adults, you start throwing them, you start engaging, or the Ellen story about what would happen. And in essence, that's what happens. You just spark that little bit of joy and it spreads fast.
And what is the best way to connect with you and follow you?
Best way is really through the website, which is susan-hensley.com. I keep it pretty simple.
Good. I have a friend who art journals during church, and instead of taking like notes during church, she draws during church, and beautiful things come out of that hour she sits in church. It's just finding those moments, like you said,
Yeah.
while the water is boiling.
No, I love that. I mean, wow, if you do pick up or you ever wait for kids or you wait in your car for any long length of time, if you get drive up stuff brought to your car, that's I tell people, keep a little notepad in your backpack or in your car on a commute. If you ride a train, there's lots of times, a couple color pencils, couple crayons, gel pen. Yeah, you could have some fun.
That's all you need. What do you love most about your life right now?
I think right now it's getting to talk about this. It's scary to write a book, right? And it came out this summer and it sounds like a great idea. You make it through all the writer's block. I mean, it really does sound like a great idea and you feel compelled to do it. But that initial launch was very scary. What I have really loved is as I've been able to share it, because I'm trying to share something that made a difference to me. And yes, being able to share it like on your platform really feels great because it is just a suggestion that has helped people. And I think we all could use, suggestions. We try them. Some things work for us, some don't, but maybe we share it with someone else. So that's my favorite part, is just being able to share now and not feel like, oh my gosh, this book's coming out and is it going to get reviewed or not? Right. That part was not as fun as I would have loved.
Yeah. And then once it's out there, then there's the relief of like, then you have no control over it.
Exactly.
So,
much better.
Yeah. Are you working on anything else right now? Like maybe another book or something?
I am starting to, and I've been writing. I'm really ending up going down the path because it's emerging about the stories we tell ourselves and the voices in our head. And there's a lot on that, but I think sometimes making friends with that voice can be a way versus shunning it or constantly reframing it, but maybe getting to know our inner critic a little better and trying to befriend that person.
I hope you come back when that comes out. I would love
I
to
would
talk to you
love
about
to.
that. And I'd love to have you come back and like do some art.
Well, I would love to. That'd be super fun. It's
All right.
all about the process.
It's a week long with Susan is what's going to happen every day. It's the Susan and Richard show from now on. That's it. It's a delight having you here. Thank you so much for coming.
Oh, thank you. I loved it. Have a great day.
You too. Go get her book, Art for Your Sanity. Go visit her website. And we're going to take a break. We'll be right back after this.
You know what would be better than watching this commercial? Watching your commercial. Scan the QR code or visit makeyourdayricher.com/advertising to start promoting today.
Thank you, Susan. Thank you, Cassandra, for being on the show. Thank you for watching. Appreciate it. Now's a good time to share it. And come back tomorrow with an all-new show with Ed Hajim. He's the author of On the Road Less Traveled, an unlikely journey from orphanage to the boardroom. It's a story of how he was kidnapped by his father at 3 years old. So you're not going to want to miss that. And also Brandon Neely is here. We're going to do a little money talk. He's the host of the Wealth Wisdom Financial Podcast. Have a great day, everybody. Go make your day richer. Go make somebody else's day richer. You've made mine by watching this show, and I love you for it. Have a great day. Bye-bye.